Welcome to the Success with Jewelry podcast, where we invite you inside our conversations about business success and marketing for jewelry designers and entrepreneurs.
We're Laryssa and Liz, jewelry marketing experts with a combined 16 years of experience in jewelry marketing and proven track records in helping jewelry brands meet their goals. When you listen to or watch this podcast, you get an intimate and exclusive peek behind the curtain of all the things you wish you could know about earning success in this industry.
Welcome to episode 33. In this episode, Laryssa and I will be giving you one quick tip and a takeaway about our topic of the day. What is direct mail marketing and what are the pros and cons of using it? We also want to tell you about our insider community. When you join for only $20 a month, you'll have access to extended episodes full of tips that you can start implementing today and further resources about each topic we discuss. In the extended version of this episode, we talk about who should use direct mail marketing and how should they use it, the best practices of direct mail marketing, and we also share some examples of jewelry brands that are using it to help fuel your inspiration. To get access to this exclusive content, as well as direct access to me and Laryssa, sign up by visiting successwithjewelry.com. Hey, Laryssa, let's get into it.
Let's take a trip back into the 90s.
I know, we were just reminiscing about the Delia's catalog.
I love the Delia's catalog. And I think, one main point and takeaway that we want to make about target audience is if you market to millennials like me and Liz, we love direct mail.
We love direct mail. I think everybody loves getting something in the mail, especially because we're always getting so much digital content. To hold something and look at it and be grounded in reality, I think is really exciting.
Yeah, especially when it's glossy and beautifully produced. There's really nothing that can substitute for that in the digital space.
Yes. So what is direct mail marketing? It's a type of direct marketing that's delivered physically to your prospect's mailbox, and it's coming back in popularity in 2023. So this is not something that's a dead concept. It's actually rising in popularity.
Definitely more brands are investing in it. And there's a lot of ways to approach it, which makes it really exciting. Like an email is just an email, but direct mail can be a postcard. It could be a catalog. It could be a handwritten note. It could be some kind of trifold brochure. It could be a letter. There's so many possibilities for it.
Yeah, even with your top prospects, if you're selling high end, it could be a gift or it could be something that's a package that you're sending to these people who you're really prospecting.
Definitely.
And there are services out there. One that I've used before with a client is Poplar that will print and mail for you. And it can also provide analytics, and it can also create a lookalike audience for you to help you expand your reach. So if you have an audience of addresses that you've collected, it can create an audience that's similar, that are people that are not yet on your list.
That sounds very cool. And there are also other services, there are two. One is called Handwritten and one is called Scribeless, which I actually just recently used for something where you can upload your list with first names and any other custom fields that you want in the note. And a robot hand writes the note for you and then sends it to your the target. So it looks like it's really personal, but you don't have to sit there and get a wrist cramp because you're writing all these notes.
And even if you're doing a postcard that you've printed or a mailer that you've printed, if you do have it in you to write a little note or have some handwritten element on those items, that could really add some personality to it too. But there's a lot of services to help you in this, and you actually can buy lists, which a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, you can buy lists and you can pick and choose by very specific criteria because pretty much all of us in this country are on some kind of list unless we totally live off the grid. So these list companies have data about us, how many people are in the household, what other purchases have you made recently? Do you shop for cars? What's your occupation? Stuff like that. It's kind of creepy.
It is kind of creepy and crazy. If you want to stick with people who are in your audience, think about people who have purchased from you in the past, who you obviously have their addresses. You can also collect addresses as a way of creating like a more insider program or inviting people to create an account on your website. Those are different ways that you can collect addresses. I've noticed more and more brands collecting addresses recently. So it's definitely something brands are thinking about. But a successful direct mail campaign involves setting a goal and having a strong call to action that is in alignment with that goal. So that's a crucial part to doing this, is really understanding what your goal is and being really clear about your call to action.
Yeah, I would say those two things are vital to have like a single-minded kind of call to action and then one very clear goal. Because if you're all over the place, if you're just like, I just want to increase sales, or like, I just want to get people to go look at my website, like, it got to be a little more specific than that.
Definitely. And I also think that if you're pursuing wholesale, it's really important to have this as a part of your marketing strategy, because I think it's a really good way to cut through the noise when it comes to reaching buyers and retailers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, let's get into some pros and cons. The first pro of direct mail marketing is that it can be really effective. Direct mail can cut through the noise, and there's so much less competition out there.
Yeah, not a lot of brands are doing it, especially not a lot of jewelry brands. Like you probably get mattress and furniture direct mail campaigns, but not jewelry so much.
Yeah, we in the extended episode, we actually share some examples of brands that and direct mail, but there aren't that many jewelry brands doing it. So it's definitely an opportunity that we can all think about. I would say that also direct mail is a really much more personal approach than email, especially if you really understand your audience and you include a handwritten element. It could make your clients, your prospects feel really good and feel like you really thought about them.
It can also be really highly targeted. I mean, much more so definitely than social media, because on social media, you don't know who's looking at your stuff or following you, who you're talking to. But with direct mail, you can be really picky about who you're communicating with and ensuring that they're within like the range of who your target customer would be.
Yes, definitely. I also think that it's creative and memorable. I think you can have a lot of fun with it. You can use your creative, your photo shoots. You can really showcase your brand in a beautiful way. And then some of the cons of direct mail marketing would be, I think the number one con is that it can be really expensive depending on what you're sending. Sending a catalog to 500 people is not cheap.
Yeah, because you have to think about the photography. You'll probably need special photography for a catalog. The production costs, if you want nice paper, it adds up. The person hiring a person to do the layout, because you don't want to do it yourself, I promise you. So it can be costly, but you can also think of it from the investment perspective. Like if you think that you can make a few sales of like a high-end piece of jewelry, that could potentially pay for itself and more.
Yes, and you could think about it more so like sending postcards to start, which is a more affordable approach. Or you could think about really targeting like smaller group with a handwritten letter, a small gift or something like that if you're selling very high end. So there's a lot of different ways to think about it, but at the end of the day, it can be a really expensive thing. It can also be really hard to measure the results.
Yeah, unless you have like a trackable discount code or you're using like a trackable QR code, it can be tricky to see like what the actual return on investment is.
And it's something that you really have to plan ahead for. So you have to commit to this. You have to think 6 months to a year in advance to make sure that you have the time to do the photo shoots if that's something you're trying to do for this, to have it designed, to get your list together. And then also you want to make sure it's with a strategy and in alignment with emails you're sending or a trade show that you're doing or a direct to consumer event you're doing. So you want to make sure you're doing this with a plan in place.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a quick hit marketing tactic, but I don't think any marketing tactic is really a quick hit. So,
No, but I just think about how hard it is for some clients I work with to get an email out. This is much more than that. So this is something that you definitely have to plan ahead for and think about in advance. And also, I think the scariest part for me, having done this in the past, is that it's not editable. So you have to be really careful when you're reviewing. It could be really good to not only hire a graphic designer, but also a copywriter to help you with this copy, because you have such a small amount of room. You want to make sure it really hits.
it's highly recommended to work with some pros on something like this.
Definitely. And then the last con I'd say is that mailing lists can be inaccurate. Even if you've collected addresses from past clients or you feel like you have a pretty accurate list, it's still, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. All right. So again, in the bonus episode, we discussed who should be using direct mail marketing, how we share some best practices, and we show you some examples of brands that are using it effectively. So let us know what you think about direct mail marketing. Are you thinking about using this as a marketing tool? Please let us know. You can visit successwithjory.com to sign up for the extended episode as well as exclusive content. Thank you so much for listening.